Wendy Williams is back in the news again, and possibly for a good reason this time. We've been hearing all kinds of crazy things about her. She's just been that really sick, and then people don't want to hear her talk, and she's being confined to certain locations. Well, I guess somebody in her camp has had enough because there is a $250 million lawsuit that's been filed on behalf of Wendy Williams by her and her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter. Now, what it claims is that there have been very nefarious people working to keep this woman in the sedated, crazed, confined, and impoverished like situation that she's been in. The people that are involved in this lawsuit, in terms of being sued, is one Sabrina Morrissey, who is a court appointed guardian, the Wells Fargo Bank, and Lori Schiller, the financial advisor, and another one named Bernie Young, who is the former manager. Those have been the bigger names involved in this lawsuit. And what it claims is this: there are 22 charges of grievances, including financial fraud, emotional abuse, over medication, unlawful confinement, breach of fiduciary duty, and ADA violations, and defamation. It's quite the mouthful. That's a lot to be squeezing into a lawsuit, but when you look at the amount and how much money she has lost over time with the kinds of activities that we've seen her be put through, this could be a very big move on their part to try and get Wendy Williams back some independence. We've been saying for years that it seems kind of odd that they've had her sequestered away, locked up, and every time you see her supposedly taken care of, she has not been taken care of. She looks haggard, emaciated in the face, and then sometimes she'll move from being extra skinny to super bloated. She has foot problems. She can't barely move. She can't remember things she's doing once in a while. It's a really sad situation. So what we're seeing here now is finally someone stepping into the gap to possibly get some reprieve for her. The plaintiffs seek guardianship termination, and this is part of the lawsuit, forensic accounting, unsealing of court records, and a release from the Cotier facility, a jury trial, and of course, the $250 million compensation. Whether they'll get all that, yet to be seen. The termination of the guardianship, I think, is probably number one, because what has been happening is that if you're going to be a guardian over somebody, the best thing probably would be to at least care for them, but it doesn't seem like that's been the case for Wendy Williams. Wendy has come out, even the last time we saw a video of her was with her niece, I believe, and they were almost threatened to not leave the facility. Now, if you're guarding me, it's one thing, but preventing me from living is a whole nother situation. Sabrina Morrissey has been, at least on the findings so far, charged with this: restricting phone and internet access to Wendy, thereby isolating her; over medication, allowing way too much stuff to keep her sedated, at least for the facility that she's at, their convenience; and treating her as though she's under punishment, lock and key. You can't do this, you can't do that, like a child, in other words. And that seems to be the going track record for those people, most of them around her. The question now is whether or not they're able to find those findings and reward Wendy with what they got. Wells Fargo's part in this: freezing accounts that sparked the whole guardianship, allegedly violating internal protocols, and aided unqualified guardianship, meaning that there are people that aren't supposed to be her guardians, but they've been trying to back them financially. And about one last thing: none of these people have issued a statement so far about this. They've been quite silent. It speaks a little bit, maybe volumes, about where they actually stand. Lori Schiller has been charged with opening 18 unauthorized accounts. Again, if she's over medicated and she can't think for herself, then maybe those accounts being open is not something that she approved of. Blocking Wendy from access to her money. I think she even said that during the interview, the short sidewalk interview she had with her niece. And then collaborating with Wells Fargo and Guardian under undue influence. These are some major charges that they're bringing forward here, because if this is true, and Wendy is past a certain age, this could also fall under the blanket of elder abuse, not to mention the abuse of someone who does not have their mental faculties available to them. As far as Bernie Young goes, who was the former manager, he is alleged to have taken almost $10,000 on Wendy's card without consent to hire an attorney. And not only that, he attempted to own guardianship petitions. So he's trying to also become part of the whole guardianship thing. Now, what comes with guardianship is what? Of course, influence over the person and influence over what they have and what they can do. Another person is Judge Lisa Sokoloff. She was named for alleged failure to uphold the protocol and to allow Wendy due process. Now, she's not part of any material in terms of the money or the drugs or anything like that. She's just the facilitator in allowing all of that to take place. Now, the core tier wellness facility is also a part of this lawsuit where they are used in terms of their confining Wendy, because they're, of course, in charge of the doors being locked or unlocked and allowing people in or not in, determining who can and can't see her, the times that she should be awake, when she gets her medication. All of that is kind of dictated by the people at the facility. So overall, you're looking at nearly everybody that has ever had a hand in this Wendy Williams situation is now under scrutiny with this lawsuit. I don't know how it took so long for somebody to come to bat for this lady. And of all people, the ex-husband, no kids, no immediate family, somebody from her past decided to come and at least stand in the gap for this woman. Now, the question here is how exactly they're going to divvy up the case if it does go to court. Right now, there are monetary claims of 20 million a year of lost income, $80 million for estate, $4 million for the condo, 10 million in personal items, and reputational damage to total the $250 million that they're seeking. Now, I would anticipate that they might be able to get more than that, because if you're just saying 20 million a year in lost income, that is assuming that Wendy would not take off bigger than Oprah. Now hear me out. We've also talked about the fact that Wendy went under the instant Oprah started to rise, and there were many people that were in opposition to her because of how she went about things. She wasn't going about it under the same context and pretext as Oprah, so maybe they thought that they need to shut her up because her goal was to try and do something for the actual Black community. That was the running thought at the time. Oprah, on the other hand, was not. And the thought was that Oprah had set things in motion through various means to get her removed out of the way so she couldn't make the impact that she was hoping to make. Now, if you took that into consideration, that $250 million might be a drop in the bucket compared to what she could have been making today. More charismatic, a better speaker, and she was more connective with the audience at the time. Imagine what that would actually be like today with the kind of reach she would have had with the difference in the internet and the way social media is. I think $20 million is a low ball, but they're going based on what was. Now, will they get this compensatory thing for all of the financial losses? Unknown. Will they ever get anything back for her reputation? That's done for. The most they can do is salvage the rest of her life. Will any of the people that conducted this stuff on her be brought to account other than paying money out? That's another big question. Because if you do find that they've been abusive, they've been trying to keep her sequestered, which would also still count as abuse, stealing her money, that would be theft. Other than just paying me the $250 million, are any of these people going to either be called to resign from the position, like the judge? Will the bank even be held responsible to pay any more punitive damage past that point, or even have something placed on their account as to how they've been operating? Will they be required to even be opening another lawsuit on them for maybe doing this to other people as well? A lot has to be operated here, not to mention if this even goes to the legalities of the ways that hospitals handled her. Because if they've been in cahoots with the facility, this could have a far more reaching impact than we might just be looking at. This may go far beyond it. And if it does, she could be the groundwork for bringing many more lawsuits to these people if they've been doing this to other folks as well. So far, what's been happening is they're in the preliminary stages of this. Nothing yet has been fully gone forward just yet. They're still trying to procure a lot of the internal documentations from Wells Fargo, the medical facilities, entry logs, exit logs, different data points from her bank to see how much, who withdraw, how much they withdrew, what was open, what was closed. So right now, they are in the very preliminary phases of this lawsuit. We are hoping, and this is just genuine, we are hoping that they can get to the bottom, because what we can see is that they have indeed mistreated Wendy Williams in a massive way. If not in a personal way, socially, they have. There has to be some sort of balance and checks that has to take place at this point, considering what we've been seeing, how she's been speaking, and the so-called treatment they say they've been giving her to no ends. They have not even shown, at least in her behavior, that these so-called treatments have been working. None of it. So if this comes out to a place where we are going to see this go to court, this may end up going far past Wendy, even though she might be the catalyst for it. I'm grateful that Mr. Hunter is actually stepping in her corner, as opposed to her family, to do something about this, because we've been asking about this for years now. When we know more about the lawsuit going forward, we'll be the first to bring it to you, or maybe the second, but we'll try to be the first. Either way, we'll try and be the most thorough with it, because at the end of the day, what's been happening to Wendy Williams is criminal. If not on a legal side, definitely socially.